What if I told you that a single phone call may have just shifted the balance of world power more dramatically than anything that's happened in the last 2 decades? A phone call that literally had the president of 1.4 billion people sweating. It's not spin. It's not hype. That's the actual situation on the ground right now as we speak. Stick with me to the very end of this video because we're going to break down the single most sophisticated negotiating masterclass that any American president has ever pulled off against China. We're talking leverage over chips, leverage over energy, leverage over straits. It all connects. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at the summit the same way again. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, enjoying yet another glorious day in the Trumpian golden age that you made possible back in November of 2024. So if you want a front row seat on how you continue to change the world in ways you never even imagined, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, I don't want you to just watch from the sidelines. I want you with us inside our Courageous Patriots Club. You'll get exclusive content, access to our live Monday night Q&A, and the clarity you need in these crazy and turbulent times. Just scan that QR code right now and join us today. All right, let's dive right in here, gang. Now, you already know the headline. Trump just landed in Beijing. They literally rolled out the red carpet, the military honor guard, the 17 American CEOs walking off Air Force One. We covered all of that in our last video, and it was absolutely extraordinary. But today I want to go deeper because the real story of the summit is not what's going on in the Great Hall of the People. The real story is the phone call that changed everything. Jensen Huang is the CEO of NVIDIA. He runs the most valuable company on planet Earth. The chips his company makes power essentially every serious artificial intelligence system in the world. DeepSeek runs on them. ChatGPT runs on them. China's entire AI military ambition runs on them. He is, in a very real sense, the man who controls the fuel for the 21st century arms race. And he was not on the original list of executives flying to China with Trump. Then Trump saw a media report Tuesday morning saying that Huang had been snubbed. Trump picked up the phone. He told Huang he had 2 hours. Huang chartered a private jet, flew to Anchorage, Alaska, and boarded Air Force One during a refueling stop. He wasn't just on the plane. He walked off in Beijing right behind Trump and Elon Musk. Now, why does that matter? Because who walks off Air Force One in Beijing is a statement. It's a signal. It's a message that doesn't need a press release. The message was absolutely unequivocally clear. The man who controls the world's AI compute is standing right next to the president of the United States. And Xi Jinping understood that picture immediately. You see, China may have a monopoly on rare earth minerals that are essential for manufacturing and advanced semiconductors, military weapon systems, electric vehicle motors, clean energy technologies that underpin both the modern global economy and next generation defense capabilities. But nevertheless, China is in desperate need of American silicon. American silicon refers to the advanced AI chips, most critically NVIDIA's H100 and related GPU series, designed by U.S. companies and manufactured using American-controlled intellectual property and tooling that China simply cannot yet replicate domestically. China is so dependent on it because training large-scale AI models like DeepSeek, China's own AI, requires massive clusters of these chips. And despite years of investment, China's domestic semiconductor industry remains generations behind NVIDIA, leaving Beijing with no viable alternative. Now, despite years of U.S. export controls, hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA chips have indeed found their way into China in 2024 alone. That's roughly 10% of the compute power behind AI models like DeepSeek. The pipeline for smuggling involves servers rerouted through like Thai shell companies, compute time rented through Malaysian data centers to disguise where the chips were really going, all that kind of stuff. And then look at this. Just 1 week before the summit, DeepSeek, China's AI champion, announced a $45 billion fundraise. It's led by China's state-backed semiconductor fund. Xi is tripling down. He knows that compute is the new oil. He knows that whoever wins the AI race wins the 21st century. But here's the problem. China can't build that future without access to American-designed chips, period. And Trump knows it. And Jensen Huang, the CEO producing those chips, just landed in Beijing at Trump's side. Now, here's where it gets genuinely extraordinary. There is, as we speak, bipartisan legislation moving through Congress called the Chip Security Act. The mechanism is almost elegant in its simplicity. Every advanced AI chip exported from the United States would be required to ping a security server and verify its geographic location. If a chip registered as, say, being in Singapore, is detected operating in Shanghai, it bricks itself. It becomes a very expensive paperweight. It self-destructs. Now, think about that from Xi's perspective. The man who would ultimately implement that kill switch system, Jensen Huang, just walked off the plane with the president in the heart of Beijing. That's not a sales trip. That is a demonstration of power, of total leverage. But that's just one dimension of what's happening here. The most powerful leverage over China is yet to come. I know you keep telling yourself at some point in the future you're going to buy and store away a few dozen gallons of water just in case an emergency hits your family and the water shuts off. We've all experienced it. The storm hits, the faucet stops working, and we're left wondering how long it's going to be before we have drinking water again. Every time it happens, we kick ourselves for not being more prepared. Well, here's an easy step that you can take that costs less than a dinner out. It's called the Pure Water Straw, and it can clean an entire year of water for you. It's absolutely amazing. It's the perfect emergency tool for making sure your family always has clean water through a disaster. So I got a little bit of some dirty water here, as it were. And what you do is you just take it out and you take the top off. And then what you can do is you can drink from any water source, no matter how dirty. Check this out. I'm kidding. I kid you not. It tastes just like water. This is coffee, obviously. I don't taste the coffee. It's just water. I mean, this is amazing. The Pure Water Straw allows you to drink from literally any water source, from the pond, from the mud puddle, the bucket that caught the rainwater, even, I kid you not, even the toilet. The Pure Water Straw instantly cleans out bacteria, pathogens, and debris and purifies the water. So you can drink clean water from any source without worrying about puking your guts out. We have these in our home. We got them in our cars. We've got them in our go bags. Or emergency responders actually recommend having one of these on hand for every member of your household. They store well in their sealed bag. It's a tool your family would be able to count on for years to come. Now, if a takeout meal is more important than a year of clean water for your family, well, then obviously the Pure Water Straw isn't for you. But if you know how important clean water is, and understand how quickly a disaster can change everything, then getting a few of these Pure Water Straws is a no-brainer. It's the most logical next step, both for your peace of mind, but also from an investment price standpoint, because normally these are $45 each, but today the makers, Sierra Madre, need to make some space in their Wisconsin warehouse, and so they're marking these guys down over 60% with free shipping to boot. Click the link in the description below and grab yours today so your family's ready for the next crisis or disaster. You won't regret it. Click on that link below right now. At the same time, China's leverage over compute minerals just got checkmated. Their leverage over control of 20% of the world's energy just got checkmated as well. Now, we talked about this yesterday. In taking out Iran, Trump has dismantled China's proxy for control over the Strait of Hormuz, the single most important energy choke point on the planet. For the last 2 decades, China's poured billions of dollars into Iran. They were Iran's chief financier, buying upwards of 80, sometimes 90% of Iran's oil, which gave China de facto control over the Strait of Hormuz via their Iranian proxy. What Trump just did in Hormuz is very similar to what he did with the Panama Canal, another major choke point. He basically kicked China out. He strategically dismantled their architecture in the region that was enforced by Iran and its own proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. But it gets even worse for China. Trump didn't just dismantle their architecture. U.S. forces are now holding hostage the Strait of Hormuz and therefore 40 to 50% of China's oil imports. U.S. Navy didn't just blockade Tehran, it put a chokehold on Beijing's energy security. Again, the timing for Operation Epic Fury was not a coincidence, nor was disrupting China's proxy in the Western Hemisphere, Venezuela, at the beginning of the year in early January. It was all coordinated. It was all choreographed for this very moment, this very meeting. No previous American president has walked into Beijing carrying that kind of leverage ever. Military leverage, energy leverage, and AI compute leverage. And so guess what the news is today? China's now agreed to buy oil from Alaska because it's closer and more secure than Iranian oil or oil that has to pass through Hormuz in general. China's also agreed to pressure the Iranian regime to go full Venezuela and comply with every single one of Trump's demands. And there's now word of agreement of China investing upwards of $1 trillion in American factories and industry, all the while opening up their own markets to American business. So let's step back and see the full picture here, because what Trump has done is not one move. It's a coordinated, multi-front 4D chess pressure campaign executed across 3 simultaneous dimensions that individually are manageable for China, but together they're absolutely suffocating. So dimension 1 is energy. The Iran war has disrupted China's primary oil supply route. China has reserves, we know that, but reserves by time, not permanence. 40 to 50% of their oil comes from Hormuz. We now control that. Dimension 2, American oil as the alternative. Alaska North Slope crude is now a premium product precisely because it's conflict-free. Trump can offer China a stable, sanction-free energy relationship. Dimension 3, technology and compute. China cannot build its AI ambitions without access to American-designed chips. The smuggling indictments, the DeepSeek fundraise, the Chip Security Act, and Jensen Huang boarding Air Force One in Alaska have all converged into one message. We, America, control the compute. No single pressure point breaks Xi, but all 3 simultaneously, that's a different negotiation entirely. The public headlines from the summit will be about, soybean purchases and Boeing orders and trade balance figures. That's the press release. But the reality is that Xi is also not walking into the summit from a position of strength. He's managing an energy shock while his AI moonshot depends on smuggled American chips. He's watching a U.S., EU, Japan critical minerals architecture being built around him in real time. He's watching Alaskan crude become the world's premier premium safe haven oil while his Iranian supply is under a naval blockade. And he's watching the man who controls the world's AI silicon walk off Air Force One right behind the President of the United States. That's the picture. And that is why I will say this clearly. Trump didn't just call Jensen Huang on Tuesday morning to fix a media story. He called him because he wanted Xi to see who was on that plane. He called him because in one simple, elegant gesture, he communicated the entire American position without saying a single word. That's not deal-making. That's dominance. And no American president has ever walked into Beijing carrying a hand like this. History is indeed being made, and it's Donald Trump who's calling the shots. Before you go, something very special is happening in Atlanta this summer for the Turley Talks community. I can't share all the details just yet, but this is something you're going to want to be part of. Scan the QR code on your screen, watch your inbox closely, and don't miss what's coming.